Hi, hello. It is Wednesday night, 7:30. I wanted to go ahead and start this possible birth vlog now, since tonight may be the night. We don't even know. Currently 40 weeks and 2 days. Last night was rough. I had contractions every 25 to 30 minutes. Did not get a lot of sleep, but nothing consistent. So I don't know if that's predominant labor or what was going on. They slowed way down by the morning, and then just I've had random ones throughout the day. I'm very crampy today. Things seem to ramp up at night, so I wanted to go ahead and start this in case this is the start of baby girl's birth. I'm on my ball, bouncing around because it feels good on the hips. We'll see what tonight brings us. Thank you for following along. Oh, and I should say, I don't know if you can see that back there. We got McDonald's delivery for dinner. Highly recommend. All right, what time is it? It's 4:06. We're on our way to the hospital. Contractions were 15 minutes apart, as long as I was timing them, and then they weren't. Feeling like we're very, very close to meeting baby Juniper. Well, hello, here we are. As you can tell, I am in a hospital room. This birth vlog is gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna have to mostly be a story time, I think. Things happened very slowly and then very quickly. For the past 2 nights, I was having contractions, but spaced very far apart. What, today's Thursday, Wednesday? Let's say Tuesday night, they were about half an hour apart. Did not get very much sleep. It was definitely a rough night. Felt very crampy the next day. Very similar to how I felt the day before Axel was born. So I knew things were going on. I kind of put everybody on high alert, let them know I think it's definitely gonna happen tonight. Tonight meaning last night. And I was correct. I was questioning myself yesterday later in the day because I was having some contractions during the day. I definitely felt cramped. I mean, nothing close to being consistent. And then starting around 9 p.m., and I have it on my phone, I was actually timing the contractions, and they were about 15 minutes apart. For a solid 2.5 hours, they were 15 minutes apart. So I tracked for about 2.5 hours, and then I was kind of fed up with it. I was like, whatever, this is going nowhere. It must be predominant labor or false labor or something. So definitely getting discouraged. Then I would say around midnight, and I think up until that point, I was able to breathe through them fairly easily laying in bed, which to me, that's a pretty good gauge. If you can get through your contractions while you're laying in bed, just breathing through, that's a pretty good sign that you're still in the earlier stages of labor. So that was fine, and then something kind of switched, and I felt like I needed to get in the shower to deal with the intensity. Now, mind you, they're still 15 minutes apart. I was very confused. And I woke Brett up and I told him, I said, these are getting really intense, but they're not getting closer together, so I don't even know what to do. He's like, should I call my mom? I was like, I honestly don't know. I don't want to like get everybody all riled up if this is just how it's gonna go tonight. Similar to last night, but just a little bit closer together. That's kind of where we were at with that. I would try to lay back down, I'd get back in the shower, and then I would say around 3 in the morning, something changed. I was back in bed and I got a contraction that I could not handle laying down. I had to stand up and sway. Wasn't vocalizing yet, but definitely had to stand up and sway through it, lean over, put my body weight on the bed. So using some of my later labor coping mechanism. After that, I was like, okay, I'm getting in the shower, because for me, they are so much easier to handle in the shower with hot water. We have like a handheld, and I literally just put the water over me as I'm having a contraction, and it helps immensely. It really does. I think it's a key way that I was able to labor at home for both this birth and Axel's birth. Although this birth was just crazy. Like, it made no sense. Why were my contractions just 15 minutes apart and then all of a sudden they were on top of each other? So that's pretty much what happened. They were still further apart, but very intense. And I told Brett, go ahead and call your mom just to get her over here just in case, because it feels very intense. Between that time when I told him that and when she got there, I mean, she got there very quickly. It was like within 20 minutes, half an hour, she was there. But in that time, it went from intense spaced out contractions to very intense contractions right on top of each other, and felt very similar to how I felt with Axel, like when we got to the hospital, which when we got to the hospital with Axel, my second, I was about 8 centimeters dilated. So I knew we needed to go. You know, our bags were packed. Brett got all of our go time stuff together. He's like asking me if I have shoes. I didn't have shoes. I put my labor gown on, what I'm wearing right now. Like, it did not get messed up at all. He's asking me if I need to put shoes on, but I remember I was having a contraction in the kitchen. I was like could not answer him, could not talk through them anymore at all. And he brought out my green Adidas like, sneakers. And I was like, no. No, not those shoes. I like wanted the ones I had by the door. So I like grabbed a coconut water. We headed out the door. And I think his mom was very surprised at how close we were cutting it. I don't think she thought I was that far along. We got in the car, of course, and Brett's worried about warming up the car. And I was like, no, this feels good. I think it was like 40 degrees outside and I just had this gown on. I was like, this feels amazing. Just go. So he's driving. The next contraction I had, and I remember vividly, I mean, it wasn't that long ago at this point, remember vividly, we were going by like a restaurant right by our house. We live probably 6 to 7 minutes away from the hospital. So we are very close, thankfully. We're like rounding a turn where this restaurant is, and I had a contraction and my body started pushing. I had zero control over what was happening, which was very scary. I said, Brett, this is happening like now. And he said, no, it's not. And he started driving fast. You get on the main road for a little bit, and then the hospital is the first exit. First exit, first turn, and then you're right there. I had one more contraction as we're going over the bridge, still pushy. And then we pull in where, you know, you decide if you're gonna go into the parking garage or if you're gonna like valet to the front. And I said, we need to go to the front. There's no way. And then we drive up, and the entrance I thought we were gonna have to go to was like closed. Nobody was there. Nobody was at the desk. And he's like, let me just go see what's going on. And I'm in the car freaking out, because to me it's like, okay, we're here, it's gonna be okay, and then you see it, the door's not open, there's a cone in front of it. It was like my worst nightmare. Right here. But there were some super sweet ladies who were like on the walkway that go over, like we were down on the drive of where the entrances are, and they were on the walkway so they could kind of see us. They're like pointing to the other door. They're like, other door, other door. There was a smaller door just a little bit down. So he like hops back in the car, puts it in reverse, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go get a wheelchair. I'm freaking out at this point because I have like my leg cocked up. I feel like she's right there, which she was. So I get in the wheelchair, he like gets the bags on. I mean, this is all very quickly. And we just left the car running in the front of this entrance. The security guy was probably like, he like had our masks on. He like gave us a sticker. This is to say you don't have COVID, right? And we were like, no. Still had our masks on, got the sticker. They have a stork elevator, which is awesome. You literally get right in the elevator. It takes you right to the labor and delivery front desk. You get up there, round the corner, and you know, they're like, checking in. I was like, I feel like I need to push. And they're like, okay, you know, super sweet. Roll us into the triage room. Had a contraction when we got in there. And I think obviously with that contraction, they could tell that I was pretty far along. So I did manage to get on the bed. This time, compared to last labor, this time I had an easier time actually sitting. Like I was able to sit in the wheelchair, and it felt a little bit of relief once I was able to sit down. So I laid down on the bed to get checked, and she said, oh, you're complete, and she's at a +1 station. And Brett looked at me, he was like, good job. I was like, oh my God. So timeline of this, we left the house at 4:06, as you'll hear from the clip. I did take one clip in the car. Hopefully you're able to hear it. I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have like no footage here because this happened so quickly. We checked in at 4:19 and Juniper was born at 4:24 a.m. After I was checked, the next contraction she was crowning, the next contraction after that, her head and her body came out. This is all in the triage room, mind you. We're like at the front of labor and delivery. Now looking back, I'm like, was the door even closed? I don't even know. But everybody like came to attention real quick. Doctors and nurses were amazing. She was like, are you able to not push with this next one so we can kind of get baby stuff set up? And I was like, I have no control over what's going on. I had no control. My body was just doing it. That reflex that you may have heard about is true. No time. I didn't have an IV, nothing. I think I gave my social security number at the front desk, delivered with them before, so I guess they know who I am, but otherwise it was all very quick. This was all in the triage room, didn't make it into a labor and delivery room. She came out in caul, which means still in the sac. So that was very cool, and you can probably see in some of the pictures that you can see some of the sac still like stuck to her. She's like our little mermaid. I was very lucky this time. Obviously my first birth was a C-section. My second birth I did have a 2nd-degree tear, but honestly the recovery even for that was so much better than my C-section recovery. I don't want to say walk in the park, but much preferred to a C-section recovery. This time I did not get an IV. There was no time for an epidural. No time for that. No stitches, no tears. This was like awesome. 10 out of 10 would recommend. 3rd babies, man. My husband Brett was the perfect birth partner, and I will say he's not into all of this birth stuff. I am like a birth junkie. I love it. This is one of my favorite things in the whole world, is the birth of a baby. He not so much. He's just not into it. For him, I think he felt very involved this time around because he had to be. And he's so good at acting quickly and like efficiently. He was on top of it. Did not freak out even when I'm in the car like, this baby's coming out. He kept his cool. The perfect birth partner. I'm so happy, and I feel like he could feel that too. We were the perfect team for this to happen. An amazing moment when she came out. You'll see in some of the pictures I'm completely shocked because it was literally 5 minutes after we walked in the door. So relieved. We had an epidural with ɡaɡəl, so you don't feel all of that at the end there. The ring of fire is 100% true. Such intensity there at the end, and then that big flow of relief was crazy and awesome and wonderful. We're on the birth high over here. Oh, and she was 6 pounds, 14 ounces. Tiny. My other two were almost 9 pounds. And as far as how I'm feeling, so this is about 9 hours later, significantly less swollen than last time. With ɡaɡəl, I pushed for almost 2 hours. I would consider with her, did I even push? I didn't push. My body did the pushing, but I certainly did not. There was no coached pushing. There was no even time to think about positions. You know, I think this time I wanted to try like maybe some hands and knees, maybe the squat bar, see if birthing in a different position would help with tearing. There was no time because literally she checked me, and then with my next contraction, I was crowning. But yes, less swollen. The highest pain level right now is just when I'm nursing, the cramping, which happened last time too with ɡaɡəl. So I'm ready for it. Got my after ease that you saw me put in my hospital bag. It's working its magic. Brett brought me Chick-fil-A as my afterbirth meal. I had a chicken biscuit, a chocolate chunk cookie, and a Coke Zero. So now I'm about to order my next meal. Just taking all the baby snuggles and nurse. Won't show you baby right now. She's nursing, but I'll insert some clips and photos so you can see our little girl. We're so excited.